Hey guys, I am here in Merida, Mexico. So let's talk about single pilot resource management. What are some of the things that I'm talking about? Well, for instance, and I'll show you guys also, on the aircraft, I put my pen in the same place, a set place. I put my backup pens in a set place. I put my bag in a set place, and it's fixed and it's secured. My snacks, Munchie Muncho. My snacks are accessible. My backup snacks are accessible. And my emergency, no, I'm just kidding. I don't have emergency snacks. But all of my snacks are set up in a certain way. My manuals, the physical QRH is set up right to my right. When I reach down in my bag, I can access it. My noise protection, air protection are right there. My vest, my coat is hung up in the same place. Everything has a set place consistently. And so if I needed any of these resources, I know where to find them. And when I go into the iPad, so when I'm using the iPad, you know, you have so many different aspects, so many different tools that you can use, and you have favorites, you have all this different software, and you know where everything is. Back in the day when I was flying GA, you had charts, and you really had to have them. You had to know how to fold them and how to open them. It's a lot easier to organize in digital folders now, where everything is and knowing where everything is. There's a lot more tutorials to show you how to do that, and so that's something that it'd be good to take time and to familiarize yourself with the software and the technology, which is a big part of what we do today, and a lot of our tools are digital today. And so with single pilot resource management, you're flying on your own. You want to know what all the frequencies are, and if you don't have that saved on your iPad and your ForeFlight or whatever software you might be using, Avaya, whatever your choice is, old school, I would still have it written down on my knee board. One thing, for instance, when I was flying to the Bahamas, I got the opportunity back in the day to fly 172 to the Bahamas. I volunteered, dropped off some newspapers, and somebody might say, hey, why on earth are you volunteering to fly to the Bahamas? Well, I did that because I'm from the Bahamas, and who doesn't want to go home? Let me stop let me stop promoting the Bahamas. But yeah, aquamarine, clear blue waters, beautiful sand, great people. Anyway, so you get the point. So I got the opportunity to fly to the Bahamas, and when I did so, what are the hazards? What are the risks? How did I implement single pilot resource management? Well, there are hazards. One is weight, you're carrying newspapers. Two is fuel. Three, single engine over water. So I had on a vest, my life vest, I flew with it. I had all of my frequencies and everything ready. I had water. I had a tool to break open the aircraft, the windows if I had to. I had another pouch that you can put on your back that has water in it that you could sip from the straw. I even had a small weapon in case I was in the water. Also, knowing the procedure and having it written down with check boxes in terms of documentation and customs and all the different things that I needed to do, EAPIS, everything, the whole procedure, spot by spot. All of that flows into single pilot resource management, identifying hazards and risks and mitigating those risks, and it applies to resource management. All right, so we took a look at single pilot resource management / single crew resource management from the perspective of my current job as a commercial airline pilot, kind of referencing what I did in the past, flying general aviation, and drawing similarities between the underlying concepts, which is what we like to focus on. And so now, just a little bit of housekeeping before we continue. Just want to point out for those that may have just joined us, that aren't in any of our WhatsApp support groups, that aren't a part of our community as far as being on our live sessions and studying together daily. We blow through some of these topics in these videos because it's assumed that we're all working together and studying daily. So reach out to us if you're not a part of our family, or part of our support group, so that we can help you out and help you to move forward. So now, giving you a framework of single pilot resource management, there are different models that you can use. Today, we're going to reference the 5P model. And so you have the plan, you have the plane, you have the pilot, you have the passengers, and you have the programming. And in each one of those areas, there are different things that you can look at. And from our studies, from our review, it's pretty obvious some of the things that you can look at when you talk about the plan. You look at the flight plan. But I mean, in addition to the flight plan, you can also take a look at 91-103 pre-flight action, NW craft, NOTAMs, weather, known ATC delays, runway lengths, alternatives, fuel requirements, takeoff distances. Also, with the plan, you can look at other things. Are you going to take a stop? Where are you going to take a stop? Are there rental cars there? Are there courtesy cars there? Are you going to be able to get a hotel room? Are there even Ubers or taxis available? What area is it in? How far? How long of a drive? There's so many different considerations that would fall into the plan. And so with the plan, those are some good tidbits that you could keep in mind. When you look at the plane, you have different categories to put it in. To put it in, I mean, you could look at it from a maintenance perspective, where you have mandatory maintenance, you have preventative maintenance, and then you also have airworthiness directives. That's something that you'd want to consider. And so with the maintenance, you'd be looking at Aviate. That's looking at the annual, the 100-hour, the altimeter, transponder, ELT, pedostatic systems. In addition to that, you're looking at the documents. You're looking at the ARROW, airworthiness, radio operating license, registration, pilot operating handbook, weight and balance. But also, when you're talking about the plane, the pre-flight is also a part of that. And also your familiarity with the aircraft as well is a big part of being prepared and using all your resources in terms of single pilot resource management. Then you have the pilot. When you look at the pilot, the big one, we all know, I'm safe. I don't even need to run through each letter, but I could for the new for people that may not have been with us, have not gone through it. You have illness, medication, stress, alcohol, fatigue, emotion, or eating. I know you guys are always asking which one. Our organization, we use both. Although these days, a lot of times they focus on emotion more than eating in reference to I'm safe. Aside from the pilot, you also have well, actually, we're kind of moving ahead too quickly, because aside from I'm safe, currency versus proficiency, that's another thing that you'd want to consider for the pilot. Another thing that you'd want to consider for the pilot is, do the pilot have the correct documentation on them? Do they have a government issued photo ID? Do they have their pilot certificate? Do they have their medical certificate? Those are some things. And now when you talk about the passengers can be a help or sometimes a hindrance, making sure you do the correct briefings with the passengers and managing their expectations, and making sure that if they see something, as you say, if you see something, say something, make sure that they do, but make sure that they're also adhering to sterile cockpit and, being a part of the crew and the team in a positive and efficient way. And lastly, you have the programming, and that's going to be that can be your iPad, that can be your phone, that can be all of those things that you use for your navigation, and making sure that you're using all of these different resources, be they tangible, intangible, physical, putting all of that together and using that in an efficient way.
Study buddies, let's go.